So the money we just heard about from Lou was part of the Federal Land and Water Conservation Fund, which is meant for exactly what it sounds like, land conservation and outdoor recreation projects for communities. And the Wilderness Society campaigned for this pot of money for more than a decade. Why?
The Land and Water Conservation Fund is one of this nation's most important and successful conservation funding programs in the past 50 or 60 years. Since it was established by Congress in 1965, billions of dollars have been used by LWCF to build new parks, conserve important areas, and to provide access to recreational opportunities for hunters, anglers, and other outdoor recreationists. And so for us at the Wilderness Society, this program was needed to be reestablished by Congress, and it also needed to be fully funded. When Congress established the fund, it was scheduled to sunset after 50 years. And so we worked really hard to reauthorize, to work with Congress to reauthorize LWCF. And Congress never, in its 50-some year history, had never really fully funded the program. So we also worked to ensure that the program was funded at a level of $900 million as it was originally intended. So it's one of those iconic conservation programs that really impacts every county in the United States, and it's had a tremendous impact in every county in New Mexico.
Right, and since 1965, it's supported more than 1,200 projects around the state of New Mexico, and that's reached every county. So the program seemed to have been working in the past for a while, and then what happened to it?
I think what happened, as I referenced, is that Congress was never really fully funding it. And so as a result, states weren't receiving really high levels of appropriations. So one of the programs of LWCF is called the State and Local Grant Assistance Program. And that program is meant to provide matching dollars to states, local governments, and tribes to support their outdoor recreational visions. And so when Congress was contemplating how best to fund that program, they, for whatever reason, never really gave states the level of appropriation that was originally intended. So maybe in the early 2000s, New Mexico started to receive less and less LWCF funds for this state and local grant assistance program. In some years it was receiving $150,000 or $250,000. And so I think during those years, New Mexico State Parks, who administers the program for the state of New Mexico, really didn't think it was worthwhile to put out a broad statewide call for proposals from local governments and tribes to apply for those funds, and instead use that limited funding for state parks priorities, which do benefit all of New Mexico, all of New Mexicans, but it wasn't really going to the local governments and tribes as it was intended. And so with the passage of the Dingell Act in 2019, which permanently reauthorized the program, which we were really excited about, and with the subsequent passage of the Great American Outdoors Act in 2020, which fully funded the program, the result was that New Mexico and other states started to receive higher levels of funding. In New Mexico, we started to receive about $3 million a year, and that funding is based on kind of a population formula that the LWCF program has.
Right. So to back up and unpack some of that a little bit, it was like the state was receiving so little money that it didn't make sense to run a competitive grant program it was too many people trying to reach for the same pie, effectively. Like there wasn't enough money for them to dole out, so they were using it for state parks projects. And I think the last of these community grants we saw go out in 2005 to, I think it was a swimming pool in Lovington.
Yeah.
Right? And so we get the passage of the Dingell Act in 2019 and the Great American Outdoors Act in 2020, and this does kind of change the stakes. So what did you see change in how the state was sort of trying to rise to meet this new occasion?
When those two critical bills passed, and we were anticipating New Mexico receiving $3+ million a year, I began to meet with Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department and New Mexico State Parks to see how we can reestablish the program, which, as I mentioned, really hadn't been functioning in nearly 20 years. So I think the first step was to reestablish the program, essentially from the ground up, hire an LWCF coordinator, which State Parks did, and then importantly to put out a request for proposals to local and tribal governments across the state.
Were people aware that this funding source had even been available in the past by the time you started doing some of this outreach to communities?
Yeah, the Wilderness Society at that point, when the request for proposals was put out, we began to outreach to over 50 local governments and tribes across the state to do just that, educate them and inform them that this grant opportunity was available to them to advance their outdoor recreation priorities in their communities. We did kind of a series of surveys, like pre and post interviews, and what we found was that the vast majority weren't aware of LWCF in general, and about 90% of folks that we talked to didn't even know that the request for proposals was out there. So I think we played a critical role in really educating those local and tribal governments about LWCF, why it was important, and also about the matching grant opportunity. LWCF does provide matching grants, so local governments and tribes have to come up with the other half of the money. It's a 1-to-1 match program. And so at that point, I think local governments and tribes were very interested in it, and many of them did apply that first year.
Got it. Okay. And so the National Park Service, which administers this program like on a federal level, gives states 3 years to come up with projects to spend this money. And we talked about the state parks was using it for a while. And then New Mexico kind of struggled to identify projects beginning, somewhere around when the money started increasing again in 2019, 2020. And state officials recently admitted that they forfeited $5 million since 2021. Can you help characterize what kind of loss that is?
Yeah, that was a tremendous loss for New Mexico, for our local communities, for our tribal communities. It was really disappointing. But as I mentioned, it's a challenge to prop up a large grant program from scratch. What ended up happening was, I think since 2020, New Mexico had received about $9 million, $9.5 million in this stateside funding. They have 3 years, as you mentioned, to appropriate those funds. And so in 2021 was the first year in nearly 2 decades that state parks put out the call for proposals. They received 11 applications from local governments and 2 applications from 2 of the pueblos. So there were 13 in total. But for a variety of reasons, those programs have yet to be funded or not funded. In 2022, another request for proposals was put out there, and another 13 or so local governments applied. So despite the fact that we see about 26 or so local governments applying for the funds, due to a variety of reasons, those funds haven't been decided either way. And so unfortunately, because some of the funds that were appropriated back in 2020 weren't used within the 3-year timeline, about $5 million was given back to the federal government. Right. So you can imagine the city parks, the swimming pools, the ball fields, the open spaces that could have been created with this funding. But we're committed to working with the Lujan Grisham administration and state parks to ensure that moving forward, that this program lives up to its promise.
Right. I mean, I think it's been like about $2 million each year for 21, 22, and 23. And we've had these applications sitting there that haven't even yet been submitted to the federal government. I think they were going to try to submit them this month. So hopefully some action here. Hopefully there's still money to be spent on supporting some of these projects, but it's been a long time. What are you hearing from some of the communities that you've worked with on how they're feeling about how long it's taken for this application process to move forward?
Yeah, I think it's been a mix of excitement, but also disappointment. As you can imagine, if you're a local Parks and Rec director and you apply for an LWCF grant in 2021 and you still haven't heard one way or another whether you got it or not, you're kind of confused and frustrated. We've seen instances in some counties where, they've basically given up on the project that they had applied to develop. We know that Acoma Pueblo, for example, applied for an LWCF grant, and because it was taking so long for decisions to be made, they found the funding elsewhere, and they've actually completed the project, and they've withdrawn their application. And we did see 5 local governments and tribes withdraw their applications from that 2021 pool. So high levels of frustration, but also excitement, because many communities across the state are developing outdoor recreation plans. They need funding. Smaller rural communities don't have a lot of money to purchase land to develop a new park, or they don't have the funding to build that new soccer field that the community wants. And so we view this LWCF stateside grant really as a 50% off coupon that local communities can use towards implementing that outdoor recreation vision.
Right, and there's work underway, or potentially in this next legislative session, to help some of these rural communities access some of this funding. Can we talk just real quickly about what state lawmakers could do to help prevent losing further funding?
Yeah, despite the challenges, there are tremendous opportunities to get this program back on firm footing. One of the challenges that we saw was that local communities were having trouble coming up with that match, that 50% match. And so our colleagues at Western Resource Advocates, another nonprofit, discovered this long forgotten program that the state legislature in New Mexico developed in 1973. And what that program did was provide a pot of state money into this LWCF supplemental fund that local small rural communities could tap into to enable them to have that one-to-one match. Unfortunately, the legislature, for some unknown reason, stopped putting money into that fund in 1985, and so it's essentially been on the books but not utilized. And what our goal is to, working with our state Senate Pro Tem, Mimi Stewart, to introduce legislation here next week to reestablish that supplemental fund, to put some state money into it, and to amend it to meet the needs of communities today.
Thank you so much for coming in to speak with me about this today.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.